I am Donna Treadaway, and I am seeking the open office of Circuit Clerk of Union County. I am asking that you allow me to use my 24 years of legal experience to serve you, the voters, and Union County. I also want to continue integrating updated technology to ensure that the databases and records will be more accessible to the public. It would be an honor and a privilege to serve you as the next Circuit Clerk of Union County. Remember, August 8th, vote Donna Treadaway for Circuit Clerk. Let my experience work for you. Remember, August 8th, vote Donna Treadaway for Circuit Clerk. Let my experience work for you.
Hello, Union County. I'm so sorry I can't be with you today or tonight, and wanted to tell you thank you for hiring me to be your Lieutenant Governor. Since you hired me, we have had the largest teacher pay raise ever, the largest tax cut ever, the largest infrastructure ever, and we have cut the size of government by 2,300 employees, about 10%. We've also paid out $500,000 in debt, paid our debt down, so we're paying your credit card off and putting money in your savings account. We're looking forward to another really good 4 years, and I would appreciate so much your vote to rehire me to be your Lieutenant Governor.
On August 8th, for the first time in 19 years, a new circuit clerk will be elected by the voters of Union County. This office is of great importance to our city and county, and experience is vital. I have 33 consecutive years circuit court experience in our state and county, and I am ready to serve you. Your vote for Christy Littlejohn Adair as Circuit Clerk of Union County will be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dr. John Witcher, and I'm running for governor on the Republican ticket. Now, why would a doctor run for governor? I think we all know the last 3 years it's been difficult with the COVID debacle, as I call it. Our governor had the opportunity to push back against these mandates at every level, and he failed. When the shots came out, in many Mississippians, including myself, we did not want to take the COVID vaccines for various reasons, but many of us had to choose between a job we wanted and a shot we didn't. The governor is asking for his job back for the next 4 years. But what about all the people that lost their jobs? Do they get their job back? As your governor, I'll never allow anything like this to happen again, whether it be a medical tyranny shutdown, or, as we know that could be coming, the World Health Organization, just next month, if they do what Biden wants them to do, they'll be able to call an unconstitutional emergency lockdown at any given moment for just about any given reason. We need a governor that is not compromised, a governor that's not a career politician. We need a governor that stands for freedom, stands for the people, that will stand up and fight. Together we can do that. I can't do it by myself, but if we all gather together as God-loving, country-loving patriots, we can come together, we can push back against the system, and we can start right here in Mississippi, and we can make this the free state of Mississippi, and we can push back against the federal government once and for all.
Mississippi must make a choice.
There's really no such thing as a left or a right. It's either up or it's down. Up toward individual liberty, or down to the ash heap of totalitarianism.
We are fighting for the survival of our way of life. We must be bold, we must be strong. That's the strength of Mississippi, it's the strength of our people. We will overcome these obstacles and we will rise one fight at a time. And that's why today I announced my candidacy for Lieutenant Governor of the great state.
I am well qualified with 34 years of real experience. It's time for a change. Elect a working sheriff for all people. I understand the importance of qualified dispatchers. The Sheriff's Department and the Fire Departments will need to work together in certain cases. If elected, I will implement the MDOT litter program. We are going to put together top-notch criminal and narcotic investigators and will pursue violent crime cases such as Jessica Stacks. I will work drug cases to the highest level to get to the source, not just the users. There will be zero tolerance for illegal drugs under my administration. I would like to see quicker response time in rural areas by beefing up patrol and putting officers in districts. I will bring back professionalism by our officers to the citizens of Union County. We'll work closely with the Board of Supervisors to spend tax dollars conservatively. I will fully support the DARE program and school resource officers and train with all officers for an active shooter situation. I've never been employed by a Union County Sheriff's Office. I am the only candidate who can hold officers accountable for their actions and not part of the good old boy. If you are ready for a true change in Union County, I humbly ask for your vote and support on August the 8th.
Hello, I'm Jimmy Edwards, Sheriff of Union County, and candidate for re-election. I would like to take this opportunity to ask for your vote and support to help re-elect me, Jimmy Edwards, as your sheriff in the August 8th primary. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, is it on? Yes.
Oh, really? Okay, good.
Get closer.
Turn it when you talk into it.
Yeah, you gotta turn it, you talk right into
Talk
it.
into it. Pull it up.
I'm probably talking. Okay, anyway, I'm Gina Vale, and I normally am the moderator, but tonight we have a special guest who's going to do the moderating for us, Dr. Jason Dees, and I'm going to turn it over to him, and I'm going to sit back and relax.
Ms. Gina, thank you. Let me just say, candidates, big breath in and let it out. Y'all got off the hook tonight. I agreed to do this about 3 months ago when Miss Sue called me and said, hey, would you do this like you did at the last election cycle? And I had a nice portfolio of questions that none of y'all had ever seen that you had to sit up here in a circle and answer for about 45 minutes. So tonight, you just get to talk. So it's easy. Relax, you're all gonna do great, and I know it. First of all, let me just say thank you for being here. Thank you to the Union County Republican women for putting this session on so that we can hear from the folks that are running for office, and we are certainly excited to have all of you here. Just a quick show of hands, how many of you, this is your first time to be at one of these events that the Union County Republican women have put on? All right, we got a few first timers, very good. Anybody that has joined the Republican women in the last, say, 2 to 3 months, show of hands. All right, very good. Always happy to have new members. Wendy, where's Wendy? She here has the forms. She's downstairs and has the forms if you'd like to join. Perhaps most importantly, the folks that allow us to be in this room, any members of the U.S. Armed Services that are here, if you'd just stand and accept a round of applause from all of us, that'd be great. Thank you. And now, everybody got to pick what night they were going to participate in the forum. There are 3 of these. So any elected officials who are here tonight but are not going to speak, or if you are going to speak tonight, please stand. We'd like to recognize you as well. At this time, I'd like to call Jeff Lawrence to come up and have our invocation.
I'm Jeff Lawrence. I'm a local pastor, and I'm excited to come and share and have a prayer anytime. A lot more energy here tonight than it was a few weeks ago. So that's a good advice. Take a deep breath and relax. I will say this, just my 30-second spiel. Remember, if you are a follower of Jesus, if you're a Christian before you're a politician. And remember what the Bible says. Love one another, be kind to one another, be gentle to one another, encourage one another, get behind one another. Just remember all those one another's, and believe me, if you'll do that and practice that, you'll come out a winner. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for the salvation that you have given us through your Son, Jesus. Jesus, we're thankful for the Holy Spirit that you have given us, the very presence of heaven in our hearts. Lord, a lot of folks here tonight have big expectations. I pray, Lord, that you will just guide them, guide their words, let them not be nervous, and Lord, just help us to be good followers of you and good Americans, good Mississippians. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, at this time I'd ask Evelyn Mason to come up and lead us in the pledge.
Stand, please. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you'd remain standing, I'd invite Elizabeth Skinner to come forward and lead us in song.
Okay, we're going to sing God Bless America, and it's not a solo, so join in with me, all right? God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wonderful. God bless America, my home sweet home.
Just a few announcements. There is a table for candidate campaign items, I believe over here on the side. There are also voter registration forms at both sides and over here. So if you are not registered to vote, please do so. And there are also new membership applications, as we mentioned earlier. So one of the jobs of a good moderator is to make sure things move on time, and I'm going to do my best to make that happen. It is my privilege to introduce tonight's guest speaker. Shane Quick has been involved in politics and has been invited to provide a few remarks tonight. So before I introduce the candidates and call them out, Shane, I'd invite you to come up and make a few comments.
Thank you, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
I might try speaking off the mic, I don't know. So I'm Shane Quick. I'm a former Lieutenant Governor candidate. I was in the race alongside with Hoseman, McDaniel, and Longino. And I come to my own conclusion at a certain point that I had to get out for the cause. Because if I would have stayed in, I would have got enough votes that it would have disrupted trying to beat Hoseman. And I come to that conclusion on my own, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to have to jump on a grenade, and I'm going to have to get out. So, unlike some of my previous messages where I'd be like, vote Shane Quick, this is going to be a similar message, except it's not going to be the vote for me. So here we go. You see my shirt says non-incumbent is the #1 qualifier for 2023. Now what this means, this is my own design, so what this means is most of our Republican legislature is not the kind of Republicans that we need. They're not conservative, they're rhino-y, they don't believe in conservative principles, and if you look at their campaign finance reports, you'll see that they work for their contributors and donors, not us the people, not blue-collar people, not middle-class people. They work for their donors. So therefore, if 60% of them are up for re-election and we vote non-incumbent, we can get most of them out of office and put in some good conservative non-incumbents. Now, there are some incumbents we got to keep. I understand that. But most of them are worth replacing. That's why I say and encourage vote non-incumbent. Now, as we know, our founding fathers designed America as a constitutional republic. That's why I cringe every time I hear somebody say democracy. Democracy is a subversive word used by communists. We are a constitutional republic. And what that means is that when faced with this overwhelming communist wave that's increasing our taxes, it's trying to push gender change on your kids, it's putting the little pedo porno stuff in your school libraries, you got all this going on, and that's all rooted in what communism is trying to do to America and subvert America. So we know the founding fathers set up this constitutional republic with a minority, not a majority, and they beat the British and they sent them on their way. Therefore, we have to sometimes get over the idea that we can vote communism out. You got to do like the founding fathers. You got to simply win against communism, because if you don't, it will overtake you. We also, in these times, if you read anything in Revelation in the Bible, we may think life is normal in some ways, but we're absolutely pushing back against the full unfolding of Revelation. Therefore, as Christians, we have to understand that we may not win this political fight in the long run, but the good Lord would expect us at least to go down fighting, to go down swinging, to not just be bowled over by it. So I encourage you to vote non-incumbent, fight for Christian principles, for good principles, because otherwise this darkness is coming quick. We got central bank digital currency around the corner. We had a digital ID bill pass in Mississippi, which I told was not a big deal, but still, if you got digital ID at all, it can escalate. It can be very quickly tied to central bank digital currency. India, I believe, has over 1 billion people that are chipped at this point with some kind of chip that has their currency on. So I don't think it can't happen in America. We also see a lot of things going on with our tax dollars, like millions and millions given to out-of-state corporations to come here. Oh, we'll get some jobs for Mississippians. and then more likely they bring in their own people from the outside, they get some tax breaks, then they leave. What good does that do to people in Mississippi? That's not low-level welfare, that's corporate welfare, and that is not fiscally conservative, yet we see a lot of our rhino-y Republicans doing just that, corporate welfare. So this time around, you gotta think, we're in a bigger fight in Mississippi than we've been in a long time. And some of the Republican Party now, I'm gonna delve back in history a little bit, they are not much different than the Republican Party that swept the Southland killing everyone in the 1860s. There's not a whole lot of difference. So we gotta be aware of that. We gotta be sure to vote in conservatives, real conservatives. Check their campaign finance reports, see who they work for. And otherwise, we're in trouble. And we also see we have increased attacks on the Second Amendment. We see where there's things that tie into that also that we don't think about, like gun-free zones, put guns on the street. For example, I work at a hospital. They recently had 35, 40 cars broke into. I know 3 guns were stolen. So what's that mean? That gun-free zone means that criminals know there's guns in the cars. That's why they hit the outside of the gun-free zone. So we have to rethink the role that gun-free zones play in putting guns on the street. And see, that's an infringement on the Second Amendment itself that in turn leads to more guns on the street. We have to think about these things. We have to think about stuff like, for example, some of the legislature is trying to ban kratom. Now, I know some people have different opinions on kratom, but the reality of it is, if it's a herb, they say, that decreases people wanting to use opioids, and that knocks a dent in the opioid crisis, well, if you can't stop everybody from doing everything, you can at least let a few people have a natural herb if that's going to keep them off fentanyl and heroin. It would make sense. Why don't we do it that way? Or is Big Pharma behind trying to ban it? Speaking of Big Pharma, how many people lost their jobs? In this room, maybe, people you know. How many people lost their jobs during the COVID epidemic because they didn't want that jab? Because they watched people get the jab and get sick all around them? How many of you's kids or grandkids had to wear a mask and develop speech impediments and not learn verbal cues and other such stuff at an age where they had to learn it because of our state government's policies, mask mandates and so forth? If you elect the wrong politicians again, don't think that the World Health Organization is not going to work through them and the CDC and the State Department of Health to put their agendas on Mississippi. We also have to be careful about things like Region Smart. It was a bill that almost passed for DeSoto County that would allow out-of-state corporations to confiscate land. It'll probably pop up again in another form, but we can't have that. They'll be taking your farm to put up a warehouse. That's basically what it amounts to. It narrowly avoided being passed. We got to be vigilant against this kind of stuff because even some of our better senators and reps are accidentally voting on it because they may not fully understand what they're voting on. So we need to pay a lot of attention this year. Otherwise, Mississippi may be going down a slippery slope that we can't get back from. So y'all keep that in mind. Now, at a certain point, I've said this in a few speeches, and I'm getting to the point where I want to say it now. I'll get on a roll and I'll get to speaking, and then all of a sudden I'll hit a blank spot and I'll think, you know what, if I keep talking, I'm going to go to rambling. So therefore, I think I've made a lot of good points to get you thinking, get your mental gears turning. So think on that, ponder on that, consider voting for non-incumbents, and not to say a full-blown endorsement or nothing like that. I'm not speaking as no surrogate, that goes against my style. But if it's real important to get Hoseman out of office due to his extremely liberal policies that are taking us a hard left, then we very much may have to align behind Chris McDaniel. Whether you like him or not, whether you fully support him or not, it's probably more important that we get Hoseman out than we worry about, say, some personal dislikes over McDaniel that some people in Mississippi had. So I will say that about that race. If we keep going down the road Delbert Hoseman has taken us down, we're not going to recover as a state. It's going to get worse and worse. So therefore, vote non-incumbent, vote conservative. Remember that we're a constitutional republic. Remember that our founding fathers founded us with a minority, not a majority, because they believed in their principles. And we must stick with our principles. Therefore, vote well, keep believing in Jesus, and thank you for giving me a chance to speak.
All right, as we move into the candidate forum section, there are a few housekeeping notes that I've been asked to remind everybody of. The candidates, as I previously mentioned, chose what night they would participate. And so we are glad to have a large group here tonight. They are speaking in alphabetical order by office. So not the whole slate that's here, but by office. We will have 3 minutes for each person to speak. Our timekeeper is on the front row, and she'll give you a 1-minute warning and a 30-second warning, and then you will hear an old car horn when your 3 minutes are up, if you are still going, courtesy of the iPhone. So with that, Avery Adair, you get to kick us off. And actually, I got to say, okay, perfect. And so I keep up with who's the first person in any election cycle that shows up at my front door. Avery happens to be that person, so it's a little interesting that he's the first person I introduced tonight too. So good luck.
Good evening. I'm Avery Adair, candidate for Union County Sheriff. I'm a lifelong resident in Union County, a son of William and the late Glenda Adair. I have a 6-year-old son, Will Adair, who will be in 1st grade at Ingomar this next school year. I graduated from Ingomar High School, Northeast Mississippi Community College, and Mississippi Delta Community College Law Enforcement Training Academy. I have been employed by the Union County Sheriff's Department 19 years and worked under 2 different administrations. In those years, I have served as corrections officer, school resource officer, deputy, sergeant, and currently lieutenant, presiding over 2 shifts. If elected sheriff, I will emphasize on having a fully staffed department and part-time employees readily available to assist when need be. If supervisors approve for new positions, an employee retires or seeks another profession, I'm going to strive to fill that position as soon as possible with the best applicant for the job. Because I have been on shifts that deputy positions have gone extended periods of time unfilled. Currently, I'm on shift with an open position that the administration has been knowing was going to come available since the first of the year. I feel like our investigators need to be out other than Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, especially if certain situations arise and need immediate attention. A lot of times our deputies are having to answer calls and do not have as much time as investigations has to sit, watch, and gather much needed information. I feel like if you talk to enough people that I've encountered over the past 19 years, a majority of them would say that I've tried to be as fair, as helpful as I could be to them, whether they're the most dignified or an ordinary citizen of the county. I try and help them in finding the best solution for whatever problem is occurring, and also ultimately jailing lawbreakers as well. I feel that we need a better rapport with the communities, because it could be that individuals in the communities see things that are going on that we need to be aware of, but if they don't trust us enough or are uncomfortable speaking with us, they will be unwilling to share information with law enforcement. I feel like we could better utilize the labor force of the trustees, having more trustees picking up trash on the roadsides at all times, not just certain times that are appealing to the public's eye. I would like to use the trustee labor to help our county road crews and supervisors however they feel the need. I also like the idea other counties are doing, which is growing vegetables for their food source and nutrition. I would appreciate every one of you considering voting for me, Avery Adair, as your next sheriff of Union County. Thank you.
Next candidate for sheriff, Danny Dillard.
Yeah. I ain't tall, he hopefully y'all hear me good anyway. I want to thank y'all for inviting me up and having me out to listen to our deal. it's real important to me to hear the questions and concerns of the county. So when this is over with, if you have any, stick around. I'll be around. Ask me about them. I don't know where they went. They went under the flower pot. But I'm Danny Dillard, the candidate for sheriff. I'm 59-year-old. I'm a long life citizen of Union County, raised out at Center Community. I have 2 kids, graduates of East Union. I have 4 grandchildren. 2 goes to East Union, 2 goes to Inglemoor. So I have a concern of our school. I'm the only candidate with 34 years experience. That's 10 years more experience than our current sheriff's got now. So I've been out there, I've beat the path, I know what it's like. We definitely, there ain't a field in enforcement that I hadn't worked. I started as a jailer, went to a dispatcher, then went out on the road, went to the academy, come out of the DUI officer, worked my way up into narcotics, and I wound up being captain of Lee County Vice Narcotics. And then after the sheriff I was working for got killed, I went to work with the state, finished my term with 34 years in. Drug trafficking is one of my pet peeves. It's $1 billion industry. A lot of money involved in it. It's growing at a rate of 14.9% worth of growth by next year. The U.S. has spent $307 billion in preventing these crimes, and they put extra DAs in every county. And so we need a sheriff that'll bring these drug dealers to justice to be accountable so these DAs can do their job. I will be that sheriff for you. With dealers are rising, drug deals rising, as sheriff, I will seize all access of illegal drug activity. Drugs under my administration will be a zero tolerance. Drugs have run a lot of families, and I feel like that's a major key in our rural areas. A crime occurs every 8 hours and 16 minutes in Union County on the average. I will put a team together to put more people on the streets. We're gonna have auxiliary, a certified auxiliary team where we put more people at ball games and courthouses and places they need to be, in churches, whatever. So she's holding up the flag, so I ain't got much longer to talk. I got a lot of notes, but with that being said, I humbly ask for your vote. I want your vote on August the 8th. And I want to be the sheriff the next 4 years, and I promise that you won't regret it. I'll do a job that you will not believe. It'll be a sheriff like you've never seen in Union County before. With that being said, I humbly ask for your vote on August 8th. God bless.
All right, we're going to move from sheriff to Supervisor District 3, Michael Moody.
Good evening, I'm Michael Moody. I'm seeking the office of Supervisor, 3rd District. I'm a lifelong resident of Union County and the 3rd District. Raised in the Liberty community. I've been self-employed as a contractor for the past 25 years. I've co-developed 2 subdivisions, both of which are in the 3rd District, North Oaks and Sand Creek. Both of these developments have greatly increased the tax revenue that Union County collects off these properties. Good housing, good schools, and good jobs are very important to the future growth of Union County. This office and all elected positions were created to be a public service position. Sadly, I think that a lot of our elected officials have fallen away from that. I have always had a passion for helping others, whether it be on a mission trip to another country, building a handicap ramp for somebody that is in need, or just helping somebody fix a flat on the side of the road. I feel that if elected to this office, it would give me the opportunity to help more people in the 3rd District and Union County. If elected, I will strive to treat everyone fairly, with respect and humility. I will also strive to be active and present in our community as much as possible. If elected, I will strive to build strong alliances with other local and state officials to make certain we know what's going on and what's coming down the pipelines and what we need to do to prepare to make sure that we're ready for it. We are truly blessed in Union County to have great schools, great roads, but both our schools and our roads are aging, and we have to make preparations to continue repairing and maintaining both of these assets. I think we have room for improvements in both of these areas. Union County has been blessed in the past to have good leaders that had a vision for the future and always took care of looking out in front of us and making sure things were in place for when they needed to be. I feel I would be an asset to the board in making sure we're prepared for the future growth in Union County. I will work hard to represent the people of the 3rd District in all the decisions in a way that would be proud of. I will be a strong conservative voice for the people of the 3rd District and Union County. I would greatly appreciate your vote for me as your next 3rd District Supervisor. Thank you and God bless.
Making sure I didn't see Jay. I don't see Jay. Okay. We're going to move now to the circuit clerk's office. And the first person to speak, Christy Littlejohn Adair.
Good evening. My name is Christy Littlejohn Adair, and I'm a candidate for the circuit clerk of Union County, Mississippi. I am the daughter of the late Talmadge Littlejohn and of the New Harmony community, and Julia Gray Littlejohn of the Pinedale community. I have an older sister, Lisa Galt, and a younger brother, Bradley Littlejohn. We were all raised here in New Albany and graduates of W.P. Daniel High School. The past 11 years, I have lived at Ingomar, and more importantly than anything else, I have a little boy named Will Adair, age 6. When I began my campaign trail, I realized quickly that people don't realize the importance of the circuit clerk's office and the functions and the roles that it plays. So I've got 3 points really quick for you. The circuit clerk's office is a non-political office. There are no political favors. You follow the law, you do your work set by statutory deadlines, or you go to jail. And yes, it happens. It has happened in the past year and a half in another different part of our state. So, non-political. It's a very personal office. The circuit court usually has 300 defendants on the docket. With those 300 defendants are families and family members. The circuit clerk handles from grand jury indictments to the trials to their appeals perfected to the Mississippi Supreme Court. They handle all that and are available to the families. Next, the circuit clerk also supervises the election commissioners, and they train poll workers to make sure all of your voting rights are protected. The circuit clerk's office also issues passports, and they issue marriage license. Thirdly, and most importantly, circuit court is my passion. A 1990 graduate of the University of Mississippi with a Bachelor of Court Reporting degree, a 32-year career as an official court reporter for the state of Mississippi, and the past year serving as your circuit court administrator makes me the qualified candidate on the ballot for August 8th. I would ask for your support and your vote to go cast that on August 8th and make me your new circuit clerk of Union County, Mississippi. Thank you.
Now, when folks start saying W.P. Daniel High School, we sort of know the generation from which they came. Several of us in the room remember that before it turned back to New Albany High School. So next is Gina Vale.
First of all, I'm not Gina Vale. I'm Gina Bill.
Bill.
You should know that.
How many times have you said that?
Okay. Start off, I'm not experienced with the circuit clerk, but I do have qualifications I think that would be beneficial. So thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. My name is Gina Bill. I'm a candidate for Union County Circuit Clerk. My husband is Billy Bill, and we're members of Hillcrest Baptist Church. We have 2 sons, a daughter-in-law, and 2 grandchildren. I'm a lifelong resident of Union County, graduate of Myrtle High School, Northeast Community College, and I'm a registered health information technician. It's a mouthful. I've been employed with Baptist Hospital for over 30 years. I'm not going to tell you my age, but over 30 years. My longevity at the hospital has allowed me to grow personally and professionally. My jobs and responsibilities have advanced quite a bit over the 30 years. Currently, I'm the Medical Staff Credentialing Officer. I'm the Director of Health Information Management, which is a professional term for medical records at Baptist Union County and also at Baptist Boonville. I manage 9 employees, and I'm also the HIPAA contact, which deals with any privacy and security issues. I work daily with physicians and other professionals, serve on committees, present reports and data in different meetings. Record keeping, managing legal documents, processing subpoenas, and lawyers' requests, along with state reporting and also responding to government agencies have given me the experience and skills that I think would be good qualifications for duties as circuit clerk. I've always been intrigued with local government and court processes, so when I heard about Miss Phyllis Stanford's retirement, I thought about it a lot, and I prayed about it a lot, and I just made my decision one day I'd try to qualify, so I did. I'm very trustworthy, very dedicated after 30-some-odd years at the hospital, and very transparent. I work hard, and I never back down from a challenge. Let's see where I'm at. With any new job, there's always going to be a learning curve, whether you're experienced or you're educated. So I'm ready for the challenge and the opportunity. As a leader, my employees at the hospital work with me, not for me. And it's very important that my team and I respond to requests and to other customers with dignity and a servant heart. And if elected as circuit clerk, I will continue with that. I love people, I love building relationships, and I truly love serving others. My goal is to continue the great services already in place, and I know there'll be a lot to learn, but I'm ready for the challenge. And to establish good working relationships with employees, court officials, and other people involved. I have proven leadership skills and a record of public service you could trust. It'd be an honor to serve as your circuit clerk. Thank you.
So I actually did that on purpose. What you don't know is in order to get me to do my medical records, Gina actually has to feed me peanut M&Ms to make sure that I sit there and sign long enough. So, all right. And last in the circuit clerk group, Ronnie Willhite, who I had to rescue from my dog on Saturday, who was trying to listen to what he had to say about running for office.
Good afternoon. My name is Ronnie Willhite, and I'm running for circuit clerk. I'm married to Holly Phillips Willhite. My children are Alexander Willhite Hart and Cooper Willhite and the late Ryan Willhite. My parents were born in Helen Willhite. I'm a member of Hillcrest Baptist Church. I graduated from Inglemoor Attendance Center, Mississippi State University, and Agriculture, Economics, and Business. I have 35 plus years experience in corporate management. At Benchcraft, I managed staff in purchasing and human resources department for 23 years. I've been with All American Poly for 15 years in sales, and I cover customers over 5 states. I have the professionalism needed for the circuit clerk office that deals with civil, criminal cases, grand juries, marriage license, election registrations, jury duty judgment rolls, appeals cases from Justice Court and City Court. The circuit clerk also works with the 5 election commissioners, along with the city clerks of New Albany, Myrtle, and Blue Springs. So details and accurate records are a must. I will always be looking for new technology that can help the circuit clerk office be as efficient as possible. I want to be sure that all circuit clerk staff will be cross-trained to perform multiple duties of the office. I will be a hands-on clerk, and I will handle any complaints personally. My staff will be kind, generous, and knowledgeable to all citizens. We will work diligently to improve the clerk's office in any way that the community and citizens of Union County deem necessary. The clerk's office is a very important part of the county, as most of the business that happens at the courthouse comes through the office one way or the other. I feel my willingness to learn, my capacity to adapt to change makes me the best candidate for the job. I have seen many changes and anticipate more changes to come. Union County deserves a clerk that can oversee the challenges and meet them head on. I ask you to please vote Ronnie Willite Circuit Clerk. Thank you for your time, and God bless.
And the last candidate for the evening in the local elections is for the East Post Constable position, Stephen Pruitt.
Everybody's taller than me. Thank y'all for letting me come out tonight. I appreciate it. I'm not a politician. I'm here to try to serve Union County. My name's Stephen Pruitt. Been married to my wife for 30 years, bless her heart. Got 2 beautiful kids. I've got 2 precious granddaughters. Member of Campbell Baptist Church. Excuse me. Been with the Sheriff's Department since 2011. Been in law enforcement since 2008. Started it at ICC Community College. Sheriff Edwards hired me in 2011. I've been a road deputy. Now I'm an SRO at East Union School. I've been there 5 years, going on my 6th. I love people. I love kids. I want to serve the communities. I want to serve the east part of the county. Do everything that I can to help the people and serve the people. I want to serve the papers in a due process, due time, and try to help the citizens of Union County that are trying to get papers served in a timely manner to save them money, to help them with their problems. And it doesn't matter what problem it is, we're there to help them. And I just ask that you would just, on August 8th, come out and vote for Stephen Pruitt, East Post Constable. Thank you.
Let's give all the local candidates another round of applause. It's now my pleasure to introduce the candidate for statewide office. Way back when I first met our Secretary of State, he was actually a senator, and many of you know I've done a lot of work with Medicaid and even served as an interim chief medical officer for Medicaid, and so spent a lot of time with folks, and it's a pleasure to have him here, and give me a big New Albany round and Union County round of applause to our Secretary of State, Michael Watson.
I might be all over the place. It is great to be back. I hadn't been here quite a while. Beautiful singing, by the way. To my candidates running, thank you. It takes guts to put your name on the line. You are subjecting yourself to some criticism, sometimes rightfully so, sometimes it's fair, but also just to have the heart to serve. And to my circuit clerk candidates, I'm proud to have 3 professionals here running for that office. It sounds like we've got some good choices here in Union County, so thank y'all for running. But to all of you that are here, most important, I'm on a time clock.
No.
What do I have?
You got 7 minutes.
7 minutes.
We might extend it to 10.
I didn't start yet.
Okay.
I want to say really quickly to 3 of my favorites, Miss Nancy, obviously always a crowd favorite as well, Miss Faye, my dearest Miss Faye, and Miss Sue. 3 ladies, I can name all of y'all and talk about you, but these 3 were really involved back in 2019 in my campaign, and took me around and showed me the ropes up here. I spent more time in North Mississippi than I spent anywhere. And it was because I saw this conservative nature that you have in your servants' hearts, and it's really where I wanted to be. So thank y'all for allowing me to serve you as your Secretary of State. I'm going to talk about a bunch of different things really quickly. Shane, I hope that I fit in one of your non-incumbent exceptions. So we'll talk about that later. I've got I got some back row Baptists here that I want everybody to turn around and look at. 3 gentlemen in the back row back there that I'm really proud to call my friends. Also hope they're on the list. They are good gentlemen. And one of the things that I really appreciate about public service is when you run into folks that not only are conservative minded, but also of good character. I think that's a really important thing about our state. So many great people in Mississippi, and I could talk about the unity that we're going to talk about a little bit later. And one of the things that I will tell you is that because of holding this name, one of the things I'll tell you is when I was on the campaign trail in 19, y'all may remember our TV commercials. You'll remember my poor Beth at the time was a baby. She comes in the room and she's screaming, and Lauren hands her to me, and I run out saying I'm running for Secretary of State because she had a dirty diaper. I was running and trying to go change the diaper. Well, I had a real life experience of that. I was up in Itawamba County, somewhere up there, speaking, and it was the weekend before the primary. Lauren was singing at a wedding in Nashville, which was great timing, and so I had all 3 girls with me. And I remember speaking, and Corbeth is in the arms of Gracie Pierce next to me. And I get through speaking, and I go to the right to get to my girls, and I start to smell something. It's the smell that you know happens sometimes with babies. And so I run out, and it was really the TV commercial all over. I held her out and ran out of the room, and I get to my truck, and there was a gentleman in the crowd that was, I'll use this, I'm sorry. I get to the truck, there's a gentleman out there that kind of sees me scurrying around. And he has trying to work his way over to the truck, and I figured out that I didn't have any wipes. And that's a bad situation when you got a dirty diaper. So this gentleman was a grandfather, and he had some wipes in his truck. Thank the Lord. So he gives me the wipes. I learned a great lesson there. You always keep wipes in your truck. But he gives me the wipes, and before I get through changing this diaper, get my baby back together, he has walked across the street to the store and bought a pack of wipes and gave it to me. And it really hit me. It's a great story. It's funny, but it really hit me. This guy's from Northeast Mississippi, doesn't know me from Adam's house cat. I'm from the coast, those backslidden coastal folks. But he still cared enough, had the humanity to know that I was in trouble, and went and got me a pack of wipes. If that's not Mississippi, I don't know what is. That's just who we are. That's what we do. We've got the conservative mindset. And at the end of the day, our neighbors who may believe a little bit differently than us, they still want what's best for their children. They still want to help me get a pack of wipes. They want what's best for their communities, what's best for their cities, what's best for our state. We may see it a little bit differently, but at the end of the day, God created every one of us. So I hope we can get rid of this toxicity in politics. It's awful. I hate politics. I'm right in the middle of it, but I hate it. Because I want us to love each other. God created every one of us. And as the pastor said wherever he went before, we need to think, there he is, quit hiding. We need to think more about what's the Christian thing to do than the Republican or the Democrat thing to do. Amen. Because at the end of the day, if that drives our beliefs, we're going to be just fine. So I hope that we will all believe that and remember that. Now let me tell you a little bit about our office really quickly. I don't know how I got on all that. But we ran for office in 19, and one of the things we really focused on was election integrity. If you don't have integrity in the process of elections, you don't have anything. If your elections are rigged and the game is fixed, why go vote? Somebody's policy, it makes no hill of beans if you can't trust the results of the elections. Because they'll just cook the books next time and change the policy back. Elections are incredibly important, which is why we focused on the integrity of the process. When I came in, a lot of things were not known in the elections field. Or maybe not known, but wasn't really focused on. So the first thing we did was say, you know what, we need to make sure that only United States citizens are voting in our elections. That's a no-brainer. I think everybody should believe that. It started back in San Francisco at a school board meeting when they allowed non-citizens to vote in their school board elections. People thought, well, that's crazy. That's California. It'll never be here. Let me tell you something. Unfortunately, we see too many things matriculate across our country and eventually wind up here. So I went across the street to the legislature and said, we need to pass this. They said, that's not a problem. Well, it's going to be. We need to be preventative, not reactive. That's important. So we got that passed in year 3. Wasn't as strong as I wanted it to be, but got it passed. Last year, we got the ability to go look through SIMS, which is a statewide election management system. We can now go through, starting in January, we're going to comb the entire system to make sure no non-citizens are registered in our elections. From there, our clerks will be able to go through, once someone is registered to vote, their information is going to be bounced off a security database. If a flag pops up that says this might not be a legal citizen in our country, then we would be able to check that to make sure they're not fully registered to vote in our state. That's important. It may sound like kind of a small thing, but it's really important. Only United States citizens should be voting in our elections, period. So we got that done. Next thing, we talk about voter roll maintenance with my clerk friends here. By the way, you need to know this. Mississippi is a bottom-up state. So the really hard work in elections happens at the local level. Your circuit clerks and your elections commissioners, really important people. The reason why that's important is because you need to hold them accountable. And if you don't know what their job is, then you can't really hold them accountable. So we started a project back when I got elected. We had 43 counties that had voter registration issues. So we looked at these counties. 43 counties had voting age population compared to the registered voter rolls. The percentage was way too high. We had 90% or more in 43 counties. We had 100% or more in 7 counties. Now, let me tell you why it's important. The worst county had 107%. We'll take New Albany, for example. It wasn't y'all. By the way, y'all's numbers are about 80%. They'll do a good job here, your commissioners, so thank them. 107% was the worst one. What that means is, we'll say New Albany, wasn't New Albany, but New Albany has 100 votes. On election day, that turns into 107 people. That math doesn't work. That's the importance of making sure our voter rolls are properly maintained. So we sent letters to all 43 counties, including the 7 that are 100% or more, and said, do your job. We then started posting the numbers on the website of who was doing the job. So you can go to the website and check. What are the numbers right now for my county? By the way, I went and checked today, and the last ones that are up there are February, so somebody got in trouble today. You'll see May up there by tomorrow. So I encourage y'all to go look at those numbers, because it shows you your commissioners are doing their job or they're not. And that's an important piece. So we launched this back early about 2 years ago. And I was going to speak at the convention, the Election Commissioners Convention. I walk in, Kyle is my Assistant Secretary of State. Kyle says, hey, they're not very happy with you. So well, that's great. I'm glad to be here on a Friday morning to talk to the commissioners. What's the deal? He said, well, they got your letter, and they found out about the notices you're going to be putting up on the internet. So, well, that's good. So I get up there, and as diplomatically as I could, I said, look, you do your job, and we won't have any problems. That's how it should be. But you know what? I don't have the constitutional authority to make them do their job. You know who does? You. That's the importance of engagement in government. I can't tell you, speaking of our legislative friends back there, I can't tell you how many times when I was in the legislature, when somebody from home is in that gallery, you vote just a little bit differently because you know they're paying attention. That's why it's important for you to be engaged. If they know you're paying attention, you get better government. So please stay engaged. I love this crowd here tonight. That means you care. You care enough to come out and learn about the candidates. That's important. Elections are important. They have consequences. But don't just get somebody elected. Hold them accountable as well. And I'm the first one. I'm not pointing at anybody. I'll take the blame the first time. If I do something wrong that I told you I wasn't going to do, I hope you don't send me back. I don't deserve the job if I don't hold my word. So we got 2 things out of there. We talked about voter roll maintenance. We typically relied on federal law. Unfortunately, we've seen the feds start to shift towards federalization of our elections. That's a bad thing. When you talk about voter ID here in Mississippi, it's been wildly successful. Well, unfortunately, the feds want to kind of peel that back. That's only one of many things they want to peel back. So when we saw that they were pushing towards this voter registration, overhaul, you name it, we wanted to make sure we had that codified in state law here. Because if we challenged it, the federal government would say, you know what? You may claim the 10th Amendment, but you don't have anything in law, so you don't have a legal stand on it. So I want to say thank you to our legislators because they helped us pass that. Post-election audits. Post-election audits are coming. All 82 counties will be elected or be audited in the next 4 years. Why is that important? Are they following the law that we put in place to run our elections? You're about to see it. You're about to see audits. That's an important piece as well. So when I tell you I'm focused on the integrity of our elections, I don't just talk about it. We get results. And those results are in great part due to these 3 gentlemen in the back as well as their colleagues in Jackson. We did a lot of good work with election integrity this year. They had a lot of pressure on them from you, and that's why we got those things passed. So thank y'all for holding them accountable and putting that pressure on them. So integrity of our process, I couldn't be prouder of the work we've done the last 4 years. I can flip the lights off tomorrow in the office and go home and tell you I did a better job, left it better than I found it. I'm proud of that. We could talk a lot more. I'm tired of this thing. We could talk a lot more, but I want to tell you, when we get through with this, I'll get in front of your camera for you. When we get through with these elections, this primary season, unfortunately, I think it's about to get pretty hot. And you're going to see some things that is just ugly politics. That's toxic in politics. And I hate that. But I hope we can put that to bed. Because not only does Mississippi rest on this, but our country rests on this. And I want to tell you something really quickly. Some people may say, well, we're just Mississippi. Y'all know what Saturday was the anniversary of? A little law out of Mississippi that flipped Roe v. Wade on its head. Mississippi, little old Mississippi. It matters. Being engaged matters. I had so many people tell me when I was in the legislature, don't waste your time on those abortion bills. You're just wasting your time. We're going to get sued and we're going to lose. And I said, I'll spend every dime I have to fight for life. And now look what happened. That's incredible. Mississippi can be the tip of the spear and will continue to be the tip of the spear. We've got some great things going on here. I could talk about our initiative where we tackle the tape, cutting regulations on small businesses. I got called by the White House my first year. Remember this now, I'm a preacher's kid from Pascagoula, Mississippi, small town. The White House is called. They say, look, we saw what you're doing tackling the tape. Well, what is that about? Tell us about it. We like you cutting the regulatory burden here. Tell us how that works. And so I spent an hour on the phone telling them how we're cutting the regulatory burden in Mississippi. Here are the successes that we're seeing. I hang the phone up, I take a victory lap. It was really cool. The White House, what? They called back. They called back about a month later and say, you know what, we really like what you're doing in Mississippi. We're gonna hold a national teleconference. Could you tell other states what you're doing to cut the regulatory burden in Mississippi? Are there journalists in here? I don't think y'all saw that in the news, did you? No, you didn't. But that's what we're doing at the Secretary of State's office, leading the country on things. Mississippi, again, tip of the spear. We've had several states now call and say, hey, tell us about this tackle tape. How do we start that here? It's not just Mississippi. I'm telling y'all, great things are happening right now. Countries look at, or nations, not just countries, same thing. States, they're all looking at us. What is Mississippi doing? The Mississippi Miracle in Education. If you're not familiar about that one, I want you to do some studying. We are leading the country on so many things right now. So I just encourage you, it may get ugly for a bit, but I hope you'll get back in the boat. We need you, not just Mississippi, but our country. So being engaged is so incredibly important. And I'll leave you with this. Your accountability is so important. Again, start with me. But it's not just me, it's your local level as well. These are the offices that are going to impact your life much more quickly than we will at the state level. Local offices are very important. So please hold them accountable as well. Sorry, I put y'all on the hook there, but I hope that they will do that. Look, I'll be around for questions. I'm happy to answer any of those. A lot to talk about at the Secretary of State's office, but I just wanted to spend a few minutes with you and tell you thank you for what you do. Thank you for being engaged. Thank you all for running for office. God bless you guys. God bless Mississippi. I'm done.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, folks, for coming out tonight. The candidates have agreed that they will stick around and answer questions. Feel free to mingle with them as long as you would like. Let me pause just a second and ask if there are any further announcements, anything that we've missed at this point.
Just the next meeting.
The next meeting is July the 24th, same time here, and it'll be the final candidate forum of the season. Did I get that right, Ms. Sue?
You did.
Anything else?
There's also squash available for
Oh.
anybody that wants it downstairs.
Most important, we talk about being friendly in Mississippi. That's a great, and everybody likes squash. Ms. Sue has a wonderful farming story that we're not real sure where these seeds came from and how these squash all came up. But much to the chagrins of Ms. Sue's husband, they are not poppies. They're not maypops. They actually are squash, and she has been generous with them, and they are downstairs. So help yourself. With that, I think that's the moment for us to say, everybody have a good night. Thanks for coming, and enjoy the fellowship and time together.